My dearest friends, my husband is a truly wonderful man. Since he works, he hands over his entire paycheck to me. He only keeps $50 for breakfast and gas. For several years, our time together has been remarkably peaceful. My husband and I haven't even had a single argument. When he gets upset, I relent, and when I'm upset, he does the same. That's why, after 5 years of marriage, we now have two beautiful children. Yet, our marriage has always been free of any gossip or controversy. I genuinely believed my life would continue to be blissfully happy and complete, right up until this evening. As I came upstairs, I spotted my husband engrossed in texting someone on WhatsApp, even sending heart emojis. The moment he saw me, he swiftly closed the app and began browsing Facebook instead. "Who are you texting?" I inquired. "Nobody special," he replied. "Just scrolling through Facebook, looking at random stuff." "Oh, really? I thought you were messaging a friend." "Mike texted earlier, asking me to go for beers, but I decided not to." "Why didn't you go?" "Honestly, they get pretty wild. I wouldn't know when I'd get home, so I figured it was safer to stay put." "I see. My husband is such a good man," I mused aloud. "Yes, of course," I responded. Although I said this, my thoughts diverged, as I knew if he were texting Mike, he'd never send that many heart emojis. He was definitely texting another woman. That night, I waited for my husband to drift off to sleep. When I finally checked his phone, I realized it had been ages since I'd last touched it. Normally, my husband stays up late, while I'm typically asleep by 10 p.m. every night. I lay there, feigning sleep, until midnight, when he finally set his phone down and fell asleep. I waited a little longer, ensuring he was in a deep slumber, before I quietly took his phone to snoop. I distinctly remembered seeing him texting on WhatsApp, but when I opened the app, there was nothing there. Had he perhaps set a password for his chat with that person, preventing me from viewing it? I navigated to his photo album and discovered an unfamiliar picture of a young woman. I had no idea who she was or why my husband would save her photo on his device. A wave of anxiety and unease washed over me, keeping me awake all night. Daybreak arrived, but I kept my eyes closed, still pretending to sleep. The moment David woke up, he immediately reached for his phone. He glanced over at me, saw my eyes were still closed, and then proceeded to open WhatsApp to message the woman named Chloe. I secretly peeked and discovered he had indeed set a password. The password was 2222. Got it, I thought. Tonight, I would definitely get to the bottom of this. All day at work, I felt completely dazed, my mind solely preoccupied with the woman named Chloe. I was so lost in thought that when I returned home to cook dinner, I ended up slicing tomatoes and accidentally cutting my hand. Blood gushed out, but I barely registered the pain. Just then, Michelle came upstairs and noticed my bleeding hand. She shrieked, "Sarah, your hand's cut and bleeding." Michelle's loud outburst startled me. "Oh, it's nothing, sis," I quickly reassured her. "My goodness, what were you thinking? To cut your hand and not even notice? There's so much blood." She then grabbed a cloth and pressed it against my bleeding finger. Her eyes filled with concern as she looked at me. "Sarah, is something wrong? You look really off. Is anything bothering you?" "No, it's nothing, sis. I was just a bit careless." "All right, go sit at the table. I'll finish cooking." "I can manage, sis. You can go back downstairs." "But really, what's wrong? You look so tired." "Just tell me, and I'll help you figure things out. Keeping it bottled up isn't good for you."
Infine, sis, truly.
"I'm just a little tired. I probably caught a cold." "Are you absolutely sure nothing's wrong?"
Absolutely, sis.
"Okay then, I'll go tidy up downstairs."
Thank you, sis.
That night, I once again waited for my husband to fall asleep, so I could secretly check his messages. He always stayed up late. It turned out he was busy texting a girl. I lay with my eyes closed, pretending to sleep, but my mind was constantly consumed by thoughts of the woman. I felt incredibly disoriented. If my husband truly was having an affair, what on earth would I do? My family lived far away, and I had no relatives here. If something happened, who could I rely on? I prayed to heaven that things weren't as I suspected. Finally, my husband fell asleep. I took his phone, opened WhatsApp, and discovered he was indeed texting a girl. Opening the messages, I saw sweet exchanges between my husband and the girl, calling each other husband and wife. There were so many messages. These two had been secretly corresponding behind my back for months. I was completely floored. Tears streamed down my face. At that moment, I looked over at David, who was sleeping peacefully beside me. Oh, the excruciating pain of realizing I had been betrayed by the husband I loved with all my heart. The feeling was truly terrible. I calmly took my phone and photographed the intimate messages between my husband and the other woman. Then, I searched for Chloe's phone number. On Chloe's personal page, she was posting provocative photos every single day, dressed in revealing outfits. It was truly an eyesore. I swallowed my anger. I lay there, contemplating what I should do about David and Chloe, what I needed to do to make Chloe leave my husband alone. Because I loved my children deeply and wanted them to grow up with both their mother and father, divorce had never once crossed my mind. The next day, I maintained a perfectly normal demeanor, as if nothing had happened. I continued cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children as usual. My husband had no idea. I already knew everything. After dinner, my husband announced he was going out for beers with friends. He sped off on his motorbike. I stayed home and began confiding in Michelle, showing her the messages between David and Chloe that I had photographed. Michelle has a very fiery temper. Upon learning that David had a mistress, she practically leapt to her feet.
What?
David has a mistress? Yes, sis. Just look at these messages and you'll understand. What a scoundrel. He looks so innocent. I never would have suspected it. I still can't believe this is true. What should I do now, sis? Let's confront them. We'll scratch their faces off. Oh, I'm afraid of making a big scene. Things might just get more complicated, sis. My goodness, you're too gentle. No wonder your husband is chasing other women. You need to be fierce for him to learn to fear you. So, in your opinion, what should I do now, sis? Now, you and I will stake them out, catch them, and give that woman a thorough dressing down. She needs to be taught a lesson she'll never forget. We have to make her so scared she'll never even think of stealing another woman's husband again, understand? Do you think that'll be okay, sis? You're too kind. It won't be okay like this. Leave it to me. I'll handle it. All you have to do is follow my instructions. Yes, please help me, sis. Don't worry, just leave it to me. Sis, what if making a big scene makes my husband furious and he leaves me? If he does that, then don't regret it. A husband like that isn't worth keeping anyway. Seeing my crestfallen expression, Michelle sighed and said, "Don't wear that face anymore. You need to be optimistic. Don't let her win, you understand? How can I compete with her? She looks so desirable." Well, you've had 2 children, so it's natural for your looks to have changed a bit. That woman has no husband or children, so it's only normal for her to look better. I'm so disheartened. What should I do now, sis? First, you need to become beautiful, dress more appealingly. Second, you need to confront both of them directly and give them a piece of your mind. Third, you need to give your husband a good scare, so he knows to fear you. Oh, that sounds so difficult, sis. We'll take it step by step, and I'll tell you how. For now, take advantage of the time to get your hair done. Get it straightened and smoothly styled, maybe with a touch of color to look younger. Before Tet, when I asked you to get your hair done with me, you always grumbled about the cost and refused to go. You always kept that long, black, old-fashioned hair. Yes, sis. And another thing, immediately throw away those 2 drab, old-fashioned nightgowns. I'll take you shopping for new clothes, and while we're at it, pick up some new lipstick too. You always go barefaced, it makes you look old. But it's so expensive, sis. Use your husband's money. You need to become beautiful. You're looking worse and worse, and that's precisely why your husband is chasing other women. So, Michelle drove me to get my hair done and buy new clothes. Is there anyone else like me who knows their husband is cheating yet remains so calm? Instead of starting a jealous fight, I chose to focus on beautifying myself first. The confrontation could wait until later. That night, I didn't get home until 11 p.m. after my hair appointment. Seeing my new hairstyle, my husband nodded approvingly. "Your new hair looks great, wife. You look years younger." I simply nodded in response. I went upstairs to wash my face and apply moisturizer. My husband's eyes widened in surprise. "Are you even using cosmetics now, wife? How strange. I've never seen you use makeup before." I calmly replied, "I'll start using them now. I've just realized that to be loved, one needs to be beautiful, honey." "What? Why are you so surprised? Don't you want your wife to become more attractive?" "Oh, of course. Naturally, I want my wife to be beautiful. The prettier you are, the more I like it, obviously."
Yes.
"From now on, I will be beautiful. You can rest assured, honey. The only thing is, the price is a little steep."
Don't worry about it.
"A few million for cosmetics is nothing, really. Here's the bill." I handed it to my husband. He looked at the long receipt and chuckled. "2 million? That's simple enough." David placed the bill down, picked up his glass of water to drink, and then I gently corrected him. "It's 32 million, honey. Are you seeing things?" David, mid-sip, choked on his water and coughed violently when he heard me say 32 million. "Huh?
What?
What did you just say? 32 million? "Yes, 32 million, honey. Michelle kept tempting me, and I just got carried away. I took the money from your safe. You're not mad at me, are you?" David's face slowly drained of color. He stammered, "You took money from the safe?"
Yes.
"Michelle told me that if I don't spend your money, you'll just give it to other women, so I got scared. I went and spent it all, honey. Wouldn't want you to give it to another woman. That would be such a waste." My words rendered David utterly speechless. Before he could fully recover from the shock, I added, "I also just ordered some clothes and shoes. They should arrive in about 3 days, honey." "And how much more money will that be?" "Not much, honey. Just another 12 million. David, pained by the thought of the money, snapped, "Why are you suddenly so extravagant? You spent over 40 million of my money in one day. My God, why are you acting so strange, Sarah? You used to be so thrifty." "Well, Michelle said I need to become beautiful and stylish, or you'll leave me for other women. I'm just afraid you'll leave me. That's why I did it." Sarah, I beg you. I'm pleading with you. How can you spend tens of millions like that at once and not feel bad? I saved that much over months, and you spent it in a flash. My goodness, what is wrong with you, Sarah? All right, I'm going to bed. It's late. Don't text other women too much. Get some sleep, honey." My words, laced with hidden meaning, made David jump. He ran his hands through his hair, agitated and couldn't meet my gaze. I lay down, feigning sleep, but how could I possibly sleep? In reality, I had only spent a few million, but I made a fake bill and transferred the rest of the money to my bank account. I was just trying to scare my husband. I deliberately dropped hints to let him know I was aware of his mistress, just to gauge his reaction. I couldn't sleep a wink that whole night. The next morning, my mother-in-law, Carol, was sitting at the table eating fruit when Michelle carried a basket of vegetables in from the yard. The moment Carol saw her elder daughter-in-law, she murmured, "Michelle, what's with Sarah? She's so primped up these days, dear." "Primped up? What do you mean, Mom?" "Yesterday I saw her come home with straightened hair, bright red lipstick, and a stylish dress. I didn't even recognize her at first glance. Before, her hair was always tied with a rubber band, but now she's so fancy."
Who taught her that?
Michelle didn't even bother to look up, replying nonchalantly, "Yes, Mom. That's right. I took her to get her hair done, to redo her face, so she looks different. Everyone has one life. If you don't love yourself, who will love you?" Carol put down the bundle of vegetables, eyes wide.
What?
"You took her to get her hair done? And how much did it cost?" Michelle pursed her lips, eyes still on the basket of vegetables, and calmly stated, "Only 32 million, Mom."
What?
Carol nearly toppled backward. What kind of hairdo costs 32 million? My God, that's David's entire month's salary, dear. Well, It's David's money. Whose else? Good heavens, that's such a waste of money. Our Sarah has always been so thrifty and good-natured. Now she's learning to be extravagant, who knows why. Women should be diligent and simple. If she dresses up like that, who will take care of her husband and children? Michelle now looked up and met her mother-in-law's eyes. Mom, do you know why I had to take Sarah to get beautiful?
Why?
Because your David has a mistress. Carol froze, dropping the vegetable she was picking, and stammered, No, no way. David is good. He loves his wife and children. Good? Good. But secretly texting other women, calling each other husband and wife, and making all sorts of plans? If Sarah hadn't secretly checked his messages, she'd still think she was living in a dream, Mom. But if that's true, why didn't Sarah tell me? And why is she spending money to get beautiful? That won't keep her husband.
Mom.
You're still thinking in the old way. Women nowadays don't keep their husbands by serving them or enduring things. They need to become beautiful, become independent, to keep themselves. If their husband still cares, he'll turn back. If not, she can still walk away with her head held high. I took Sarah to get her hair done, so she could regain her clarity. So she could look in the mirror and see her own worth. Do you understand, Mom?
Carol sighed softly.
Well, maybe it's also Sarah's fault for not knowing how to keep her husband. Young girls are clever, but Sarah is always a mess. Her hair is always messy, and she wears t-shirts and shorts all day. Hearing that, Michelle sat bolt upright, her voice sharp and clear. Mom, I'm going to be frank. You've lived with Sarah for so many years. You should know what she's like. She comes home from work, washes clothes, cooks, looks after the kids, cleans the house. Have you ever seen David wipe a table or wash a dish? His wife's messy hair is because she's struggling to make ends meet. And now you're blaming her for not keeping her husband? Well, I just meant that a girl should know how to beautify and take care of herself a little. Mom, if you want her to be beautiful, give her less work. Expecting a woman to be a good daughter-in-law, a good wife, work, and be beautiful all at once? Is she a fairy? And honestly, Mom, it's not Sarah's fault. It's David being promiscuous. He has a good wife and good children, yet he still chases other women. Carol's face flushed slightly as she turned away. Well, I'm not defending him. I just think all men have moments of weakness. Yes, you can think that, Mom. But if you keep blaming a man's weakness on his wife, then perhaps you did something back then, which is why Dad was so charmed by the neighbor across the street. Carol glared at Michelle. Michelle just shrugged nonchalantly. I'm just giving an example, Mom. But don't worry, I won't let this go. Sarah is too kind, so I'll handle it. If David continues to see that woman, I'll make her regret it. Michelle stood with her hands on her hips, continuing, And Mom, if you love your son, just let the couple sort it out themselves. Don't keep defending him with that women should be this and that attitude. Sarah is kind, but she's not stupid. She's giving David a chance. If you keep defending David and blaming Sarah, you'll be the one pushing them apart. Okay. I just said it. It's best if you act like you don't know anything. Don't interfere. Otherwise, Sarah might get hurt, and David will become complacent. A family won't last long without fairness, Mom. Carol swallowed hard and sat still. Although she still loved her youngest son, she knew Michelle was right. Michelle was sharp-tongued, good at business, and had her own wealth. Her word carried weight in this house, and no one dared to argue with her. Thinking back, Michelle had never said anything wrong since she became a daughter-in-law.
She sighed. Okay.
I'll listen to you, dear. Michelle smiled, putting vegetables into the basket, and said lightly as if nothing had happened, That's what a modern mother-in-law is like, Mom. The next morning, I came downstairs in a new dress. My hair was straightened, my lips lightly glossed, and my high heels clacked loudly across the yard. Michelle looked up from the kitchen, raising an eyebrow. Where are you going, all dressed up? I fastened my watch as I replied, I'm going to work, then I'll stop by a store for a bit before heading to the office. David was sitting, drinking tea, and glanced at me from head to toe before asking, It's just an office job. Do you need to dress up so much? I didn't turn around, still adjusting my hair in the mirror. Yes, I need to be beautiful now, otherwise who will care? I have a husband and children, you know. Well, men with wives still flirt. Who's stopping them? Women need to know how to take care of themselves now. David fell silent, tapping his teacup. I turned around. Oh, and I won't be home for lunch. I'm going out with a friend. As I stepped out the door, Michelle called from inside, "Remember to swing by later to pick up those dresses I hung up for you. And that bag I ordered for you yesterday." "Yes, I'll stop by and grab them." I pulled my motorbike out and rode away, out of sight. David was still standing on the porch, holding his helmet, but not moving, his eyes fixed on the gate. I might have spoken boldly, but I was also heartbroken about the money. Those dresses were all borrowed from Michelle. But now I will live the way Michelle told me to. I have to prioritize myself. For the past year, all I've done is take care of my family, my husband, and my children, and I forgot that I also needed care and attention. But I'm not used to it, everyone. I'm normally simple. Now, being all done up, I feel strange, indescribably awkward. But oh well, for the future of our children, I'm going all in once to see what happens. That evening after dinner, Michelle patted my shoulder. "Hey, come with me. Today, I'm taking you on a serious shopping spree to invest in your appearance, so that David knows what he's missing." I hesitated.
Me?
"Oh, no, sis. I'll just wear whatever dress I have. Why buy new things and waste money? What for? It's his money, isn't it? You spending it on yourself is better than him throwing it away on some cheap flings. A woman who doesn't love herself is foolish, Sarah. But I'm too embarrassed." "Oh, come on. Stop being overly compliant. That's just foolish. I'm covering it today, but from now on, you'll take care of yourself, okay?" True to her word, my sister and I headed to the city, straight to various shops, clothes, hair, shoes, cosmetics. Michelle selected a complete makeover for Sarah, ensuring everything was elegant, tasteful, and gentle, the kind of beauty that makes people want to cherish it. Sarah stood before the mirror, seeing herself truly for the first time. Her cheeks were flushed, hair softly flowing, eyes subtly lined, and lips lightly tinted. Tears welled up in her eyes. "I've never seen myself like this, sister." Michelle beamed.
See?
"Even looking this beautiful, if your husband still strays, I'll break his legs." Back home, Mrs. Carroll was boiling chicken, her eyes constantly darting towards the alley. As she chopped onions, she mumbled, "Where could those two be for so long? What if Michelle convinced Sarah to get a facelift or a nose job? I'd be devastated." Just as the two sisters reached the gate, Mrs. Carroll, fanning the boiling chicken, looked up and nearly dropped her fan. "Good heavens, Sarah, is that you?" Sarah mumbled, "Yes, Mom, it's me." Mrs. Carroll was silent for a few seconds before chuckling. "Well, you look beautiful, honey. Completely different." Michelle laughed loudly. "Different is good, Mom. When a woman becomes beautiful, it's a blessing for her husband's family." "Yes, well, you do look more suited to David now, don't you?" Sarah blushed. Mrs. Carroll turned away, hiding a smile, thinking to herself that if David saw his wife like this, he might just decide to turn over a new leaf. Dinner was served, and the family gathered around. David occasionally stole glances at his wife as he ate. Indeed, Sarah looked completely different tonight, graceful and vibrant, as if she were a different person. Michelle, however, noticed David constantly fidgeting, texting on his phone under the table, his eyes frequently blinking as if sending messages to someone. Michelle frowned. Mrs. Carroll, sitting opposite, remained silent but observed her son's every move intently. After dinner, Sarah cleared the table and Michelle went upstairs. Mrs. Carroll called David into her private room. "David, tell me honestly, are you hiding anything from me lately?" David flinched, beads of sweat appearing on his forehead. "No, Mom, I'm not hiding anything." "Then why were you glued to your phone during dinner?" "I raised you. I can tell when something's going on." "Mom, don't overthink it. I was just checking the news." Mrs. Carroll didn't press, merely narrowing her eyes before speaking calmly. "Let me tell you this first. A man who has a wife and children must know how to live responsibly. Cheating will destroy a family, son. I've noticed your wife is very different lately. She's taking care of herself. showing herself more affection, and I'm happy for her. But if she's changing because you're straying, I won't forgive you. Mom, what are you saying? I'm not involved with anyone. Yes, I'm just saying. But if you truly have a mistress, let me be clear right now. I won't defend you. I will stand with Sarah. And at that point, I'll deal with you on her behalf. David swallowed hard, his face paling. Mom, I swear, there's nothing going on. Please don't listen to rumors. Mrs. Carroll didn't reply, just nodded slightly, pouring herself a cup of tea, her voice soft but piercing.
Good.
But don't let any gossip reach my ears, remember that. With that, she offered a faint smile, her eyes still fixed on her son as a stern warning. David felt as if everyone in the family knew about his affair, so he started reducing his interactions with Chloe. He also texted Chloe less, but Chloe seemed unhappy. Chloe texted David, but when she didn't get a reply, she called him immediately. David stepped onto the balcony, holding the phone close to his ear, his voice significantly quieter. Hello, what do you need? Chloe's voice on the other end was as sharp as vinegar. What are you doing that you're not replying to my texts? David looked around nervously, then whispered. I told you to text less now. I think my wife knows. She's been acting very strange lately. Chloe bit her lip, her voice sulking. Your wife knows? Did she say anything? She hasn't said it directly, but she makes veiled comments all the time, and she's suddenly dressing up and looking good, constantly needling me. She must suspect something. That's why I told you to limit texts and calls. Chloe fell silent for a moment, then spoke with resentment. So she's finally trying to hold on to her husband, is she? Before, she was sloppy and provincial like an auntie. Now she's flailing because she's afraid of losing you. David hesitated, not daring to reply. Chloe pressed on. No, look at me. I'm always fragrant and beautiful, completely devoted to you. I don't demand money. Just occasionally ask you to buy a bag, a phone. And now you're being cold to me? David frowned. You can't say that. Those bags cost tens of millions, new iPhones, plus the money I gave you to open your business. You think that's little? Chloe scowled. But me opening a business is for our future, isn't it? Don't be so stingy. She's lived with you for so many years. Does she deserve you as much as I do? David felt a pang of discomfort at her words, but being cowardly, he only mumbled. Let's just be quiet for a while. If I get exposed, it'll be bad for both you and me. Chloe pouted, her voice twisting. Oh, tough luck, huh? I get ignored while you still have a wife and children. So what am I to you? David looked around, lowering his voice. Don't make a scene. Let's just leave it like this for now, and I'll figure it out later. Chloe scoffed, her voice sneering. You'll figure it out? You're planning to back out, aren't you? All you men are the same. Once you've had your fill, you get bored, right? David frowned, annoyed but not daring to argue, only repeating, just stay quiet for now. Chloe gave a weak laugh. All right for now. Let's see how long for now lasts. With that, Chloe hung up first. David stood frozen on the balcony, his heart in turmoil. He was afraid his wife would find out, and irritated by Chloe's clinging and nagging, but lacked the courage to cut her off decisively. He clicked his tongue, muttering, "What a hassle," then quickly stuffed his phone into his pocket and went inside, as if afraid someone might have seen the suspicious encounter. Almost half a month had passed since I discovered my husband's affair, but I chose to let it be. I wasn't in a rush to confront the mistress, even though I had already found out Chloe's apartment address. Michelle was restless, constantly asking me, "Sarah, when are you going to confront her? Let's take it easy, sis. I'm itching for a fight. How about tonight you and I, along with some of my friends, go to her apartment and beat that girl up?" Calm down, why the hurry, sis? She stole your husband. Why are you being so civil, Sarah? I'm not done yet. First, I need to scare my husband. Then I'll settle scores with Chloe. So, how has David been these past few days? He seems to be texting her less. I guess all my subtle hints scared him. Did he say anything about you spending his money? Of course. He kept saying I was being extravagant. In reality, I only spent a few million. I transferred tens of millions into my own account. Good, it's just to scare him. Nobody actually spends money like that. As for the confrontation, I'll bring some friends along. They'll provide backup so you don't have to worry about a thing.
Kiss.
I'll scare my husband for a few more days, then we'll deal with her, okay? Yes. Hurry up, I'm getting impatient. Tonight, I bought a chicken to boil. My husband finished showering and was lying on the couch, waiting for dinner to cook. Wife, I'm so hungry. Is dinner ready yet? Just need to chop the chicken and it'll be done. You bought chicken? That's great. Yes, it's good. Everything I buy is good. I took out the knife and cutting board and began to chop the chicken. Each chop was forceful and precise, severing the meat cleanly. My husband remarked, "Wow, wife, you're chopping with a lot of force today."
Yes. I need to change now.
I need to be strong, honey. I continued chopping forcefully. My husband seemed surprised. He softly asked, "Are you angry about something, wife? You're acting strange today. Don't chop so hard, you might break the cutting board." I began to mutter curses. Do you remember my friend Jessica? Yes, why? Her husband cheated on her, honey. Oh, really?
Yes.
She's too gentle, so she just tolerates it. But if it were me, I'd chop that woman to death. And as for the husband, I'd slice him up and throw him to the dogs. What a bunch of scoundrels. I cursed as I chopped the meat. My husband looked at me with fear in his eyes. But that's their problem, wife, not ours. Don't get so worked up. That's exactly why I said she was too gentle. If it were me, I'd chop both of them. Those despicable lowlives. I chopped so hard that the cutting board broke into 3 pieces. I picked up the broken board and threw it straight into the trash, much to my husband's astonishment. He was utterly shocked by my intense behavior because he was used to my gentle and obedient nature. My sudden violent demeanor was unfamiliar to him. Not only that, I threw the knife into the trash as well. How annoying! Why do I hate those lowlives so much? If they ever fell into my hands, they'd be permanently neutered. That's for sure. My husband sat silently, not saying a word. My threats were just that, and afterward, I immediately returned to normal. Honey, come eat dinner. As we ate, my husband kept glancing at me furtively. I found it quite amusing, but I didn't dare laugh. After dinner, I helped our children with their homework. My husband went downstairs to sit with his parents. Michelle was also there. As David came down, Michelle asked him sarcastically, "So, David, no texting today, huh?" "Texting what, sis?" "Oh, who knows with you?" David then turned to his mother and sister-in-law. "Mom, sis-in-law, my wife has been very strange lately." "Strange how?" "Her attitude is just peculiar. Sometimes she's very gentle, other times she's fierce like a tigress. It's really confusing." Michelle sighed and said, "A wife's attitude, whether good or bad, reflects her husband's behavior, David."
You should think about that.
David laughed and said, "I treat her perfectly, sis." "Yes, perfectly." "Oh, if you're free, David, go online and read about those cases where wives get jealous and log their husbands out permanently. It's truly terrifying to read." "Do you know why they resort to such actions?" "No, I don't read those." "Well, the reason is because the husband cheats, the wife tries to reason with him, but he won't listen, so she gets so frustrated she logs him out."
Scared yet?
David scratched his head, saying, "Why are you telling me those stories, sis?" "Just telling you so you know to avoid foolish outside affairs. Otherwise, when trouble strikes, no one can save you." "What nonsense are you talking about, sis? I would never do such a thing." "Are you sure about that, David?" David, finding Michelle's words too aggressive, stood up. "Well, I'm going upstairs. I'm not talking to you anymore. You just talk nonsense. And speaking of you, sis, Robert has been on a long business trip. You should go visit him. He might have a second wife there." Hearing David say that, Mrs. Carroll snapped, "David, what nonsense are you spewing? This family doesn't have a lineage of infidelity. You'd better watch out." "That's right, David. Our ancestors for 3 generations were all loving husbands and fathers. No one ever had a habit of cheating. If anyone does, Karma will strike them down. Unable to argue with the two women, David sulked and went upstairs to lie down, only to receive a text from Chloe. David was at his wits' end with the four women around him. He now regretted bringing such trouble upon himself. That afternoon, picking up the children from school, they kept nagging me to buy them bubble tea. I used to rarely let my children drink such things, but ever since Michelle treated me to it, I found it quite tasty. It's true that I was quite provincial and also very thrifty, but today I decided to go to a bubble tea shop. The two children were thrilled. I told them to stay still in the car, the older one watching the younger, so I could go in and buy quickly. The moment I stepped into the shop, I saw quite a crowd waiting to buy drinks. At the front, a couple stood. The girl, in a short, flared student-style dress, was daintily choosing drinks and ordering other items, clutching the man's arm. I froze when I recognized my husband's familiar figure. Seeing that scene, I wanted to scream, but I managed to calm myself. At that moment, my appearance was too disparate from hers. I was wearing some protective clothing and messy clothes, having just picked up the children and planning to go grocery shopping. If I made a scene here, people would say it was my fault for being ugly and losing my husband, and many would side with that mistress. I had to restrain myself. If I were to ever confront her, I definitely needed to prepare a much better look. Besides, my two children were waiting. Swallowing my tears, I quietly stood behind them, recorded a video, then silently turned and left. The two children looked at me with disappointment. "Oh, Mom, aren't you buying bubble tea anymore? We're so thirsty." I looked at my children, tears welling up in my eyes. I comforted them. "It's too crowded in there. We'll come back and buy some later, okay? Let's go to the market first." After that, I drove the children straight to the market. A little while later, I returned to buy bubble tea for my children, not forgetting to buy 2 more cups for myself and my husband. That evening, my husband came home late and didn't eat dinner. Of course, he was full from drinking bubble tea. When he went to his room to lie down, I went in. "Honey, drink this bubble tea. I just bought it this afternoon." David looked at the bubble tea, his heart sinking. It was indeed from the same shop and the same kind he had chosen earlier that afternoon. David's face paled. You can drink it. Aren't you full from drinking beer with your friends? You drink it. I bought it for our whole family." The two children came into the room, excitedly inviting their dad to drink. "Dad, drink it, it's delicious. We saved some for you." David looked at his children and mildly scolded them. "These kinds of things aren't nutritious at all. Buy them less often next time." The children's faces fell, their excitement gone. As for me, I wanted to unleash my fury. He was such a hypocrite, full from his mistress, then coming home to forbid his wife and children. What a terrible man, lavishly spending money on other women, but never daring to spend a dime on his wife and children. I gritted my teeth, my face hardening. "You'd better finish that cup of bubble tea. It's a gift from your wife and children. Just try to drink it all." David sensed the unsettling tone in my words, so he tried to drink it, not forgetting to force a compliment. Now he's humiliated, I thought. Trying to balance 2 relationships, splitting his affection and money. There's no greater foolishness than this. Under my gaze, he tried his best to finish it. Seeing the disgusted look on my husband's face, I felt a triumphant satisfaction, thinking, serves him right. I wanted to explode, but I didn't want my 2 children to hear their parents arguing, nor did I want to upset my mother-in-law. So I decided to talk to my husband via text message. That entire night, I didn't say a word. My husband, seeing my silence, didn't dare approach me. Lucky for him, as I was a ticking time bomb. The next morning at work, I texted him, "I know about you and Chloe. Now tell me, do you need me and our children, or do you need Chloe?" Immediately, my husband argued. "What nonsense are you talking about? Which Chloe?" "Chloe, 21 years old, a coffee shop employee at 407 from Burlington, Vermont. Do you need me to provide her phone number and address?" Even at this point, my husband still argued. "Oh, there's nothing between me and that girl. She just delivered coffee to my workplace a few times, and I only texted her to order coffee for everyone. Are you telling your wife the truth? I am telling the truth. At this moment, because I was so angry, I texted, "Don't come home tonight, because I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself and might log you out permanently. Go wherever you want." Oh, you're being ridiculous. There's nothing going on between me and her, and you're making a huge fuss. Do you still want to argue? I sent him the video I had recorded. Watch the whole video. A man and a woman holding hands, being intimate, going for drinks, and you say there's nothing? It's that crazy girl's fault. She always throws herself at me. I don't even like her. Girls nowadays are very loose. I don't like them. Oh, really? So does it mean nothing until I catch you in bed with her? Don't you dare shift the blame. Shut up, you scumbag. You take other women out and spoil them. Ask your children if they've ever received a single gift or treat from their father, or do you only care about showing off to other women? You're going too far. I was furious, so I sent him all the screenshots of his WhatsApp messages that I had taken. After that, my husband sent me numerous messages, offering various explanations and insisting that he and Chloe had nothing going on. Throughout the entire afternoon at work, my phone kept pinging with messages from my loving husband, making my colleagues envious and tease me. Wow, your darling husband is texting you all afternoon. You two are so affectionate. I forced a smile. Yes, well. That evening, my husband came home right on time. Tonight, Michelle had taken my mother-in-law to a children's play area at the mall and then to a movie. I stayed home. I didn't cook dinner. I went out and bought pho instead. Seeing 2 bowls of pho on the table, my husband asked, "Oh, wife, didn't you cook dinner tonight?" I was tired today, so I didn't cook. Having pho occasionally is fine. Having pho occasionally? Yes, wife, having pho occasionally is fine. I then said coldly, "Rice is the true love. Pho is just fleeting, honey. You can play around and have your fun, but no one can eat pho for a lifetime, right?" Well, yes, that's true. Just like when people pass away, they are offered rice, not pho. Am I right, husband? My words sent a chill down David's spine. He sat eating but couldn't swallow. I sighed and said, "I'm telling you one last time. End things with Chloe, and we can start over. If you want to be with Chloe, then tell me directly, and I'll take our 2 children back to my mother's house, so you can be here freely with Chloe. But if you still care about your wife and children, then end things with Chloe. Rice and pho cannot be eaten together. Think very carefully, and give me your answer tomorrow." David sat silently. I continued, "Honestly, this afternoon I was so angry. I just wanted to chop you up with a knife. But when I came home from work and saw our 2 children, I calmed down. I've known about your affair for a while, but I didn't make a scene or cause a ruckus. That's because I wanted to give you a chance to turn back. But you didn't. If there's anything, just tell me directly. I can handle anything." David mumbled, "I'm sorry, wife." Are you only admitting it now? Why are you so stubborn?
Sarah, I'm truly sorry.
After my lengthy monologue, David finally pledged to end things with Chloe. He took out his phone, blocked her number, and solemnly vowed never to betray me again. I simply nodded, accepting his commitment. My love for him led me to grant him another opportunity to rectify his errors, for the sake of our children having a complete family unit. Chloe, however, was not prepared to accept this. She found herself unable to reach David by phone. She was in a frenzy. David took the initiative to call Chloe himself, aiming to put an end to everything. "Oh my God. Why are you finally calling me back now? Come to the coffee shop, I need to talk to you." "Yes, I'm on my way." David waited for Chloe at the cafe. When she arrived, Chloe embraced him around the neck, her voice tinged with irritation. "What have you been doing, avoiding me all week?"
Come on, sit down.
"I'm already sitting. What's wrong with you? Why are you so distant?" David sighed before speaking. "Chloe, we need to end this." Chloe's eyes went wide.
Why?
"Why do we have to stop? I'm married, and you're still so young. You should forget about me. Find someone else to love. That would be much better for you. With me, you have no future. I don't need you to give me a future. All I need is your love. Right from the start, I told you I'd accept everything. Nothing has changed. So, why do you suddenly want to end it now? Because I can no longer bear to deceive my wife and children. I'm truly sorry, but we need to stop. No, I refuse to accept this. You promised to love and cherish me for my entire life. Why do you want to quit now? I won't accept it. I absolutely won't. Chloe, please calm down and reconsider. You're still young, with a long future ahead. Don't throw everything away because of me. Chloe vehemently refused to let go of David right there in the cafe. David exhausted all his arguments, but she remained unwilling to listen. Yet, David had made up his mind. He internally vowed that this would be his final encounter with Chloe. He acknowledged that he'd made a blunder in a moment of weakness, and from this day forward, he would never repeat such a mistake. His wife, children, and family remained his utmost priority. David headed home, picking up a roasted duck and a few other groceries on his way for the family dinner that evening. Never had his wife and children felt so profoundly important to him as they did in that moment. I arrived home from work, and our daughter immediately ran out, eager to share her news. Mommy, Daddy has already cooked dinner. Oh, your father has been so hardworking today, hasn't he? Yes, Daddy bought roasted duck and so much other food, Mom. Stepping inside, I found my husband had not only prepared dinner but also bathed both children, washed their clothes, and hung everything out to dry. You're home early today? Yes, I had some urgent business, so I took the afternoon off. Once that was sorted, I came straight home. Honey, go take a shower and then we'll eat. All right. Witnessing my husband diligently helping with household chores, I felt a warmth in my heart. I always wished he would continue to prioritize our little family in this way. Once my husband resolved to break up with Chloe and cut off all communication, he no longer lingered at bars or cafes. He came straight home to his wife and children after work. Chloe, however, wasn't about to release my husband so readily. Unable to reach David by phone or text after a week of torment missing him, she resolved to show up at his house to find him. It was a scorching noon when Mrs. Carroll, drowsily preparing vegetables, was startled by the insistent ringing of the doorbell. Who could possibly be calling at this time? I don't know. She rushed to open the gate, nearly dropping her basket of vegetables the moment she pulled it open. Standing directly in front of her was a young woman in a loose-fitting maternity dress, her hands cradling a noticeably bulging stomach. It was Chloe. She stood deliberately, affecting a casual posture, one hand caressing her belly, the other resting on the gate, her voice syrupy sweet. Hello, Auntie. I have something very important I need to discuss with you. Mrs. Carroll froze for several seconds, her gaze fixed on Chloe's conspicuously large belly, sweat glistening on her forehead. Her mind raced. Oh, damn it. Did David actually get this girl pregnant? She thought, horrified. Mrs. Carroll stammered quickly. Child, come in and sit down first. Chloe, with the cunning of fishing with murky water, swept into the house like a dragon, her belly continuously thrust forward, her hand rubbing it in feigned exhaustion. Mrs. Carroll was utterly perplexed, unsure how to proceed, so she hurried upstairs and knocked on Sarah's door. Sarah, come down here. I need you. What is it, Mom? Just come down and you'll see. I can't deal with this girl on my own. Sarah raised an eyebrow and shuffled downstairs in her slippers. While Mrs. Carroll was upstairs, Chloe seized the chance to wander through the house, scrutinizing the kitchen, then eyeing the sofa set. It was as if she were appraising her future possessions. She snickered, her lips curving in a smirk, secretly relishing her imagined triumph. Soon enough, I'll be the lady of this house. As she paraded around, there was a sudden thump, and the huge silicone belly slid straight to the floor. Chloe, absorbed in inspecting the furniture, was completely unaware that her belly had just fallen off. She sauntered into the bathroom, gazed at herself in the mirror, took several selfies striking various poses, and then sent the photos to David. Honey, look at me. Our little boy is almost here. Sarah descended the stairs and, in a single glance, spotted the large silicone pad lying on the tiled floor. She burst into uncontrollable laughter. Oh my goodness, Mom. Her belly just fell off. Mrs. Carroll's mouth fell open. Sarah quickly snatched the fraudulent silicone belly and tucked it discreetly under the table, then leaned in to whisper to Mrs. Carroll. See, Mom? That girl is a con artist. Mrs. Carroll's face turned livid with anger, her eyes wide and glaring, her hand tightly gripping her skirt. Sarah crossed her arms, leaning against the wall, awaiting the next development in the unfolding drama. A moment later, Chloe emerged from the bathroom, her face radiant as a blooming flower. She swayed gracefully, settled onto the sofa, and began rubbing her stomach. Mrs. Carroll, masking her fury, inquired sweetly, So, how many months pregnant are you, dear? Chloe's eyes crinkled with a smile. Oh, I'd say about 4 months, Sandy. It's a boy, Auntie. You're about to have a new grandson. Sarah interjected. Excuse me? I didn't give birth to you. Why are you calling me Auntie? Yes, ma'am. Michelle, Sarah's sister-in-law, narrowed her eyes, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. Oh, so quickly? Have you given birth already, dear? Chloe looked utterly confused. Why would I have given birth already? Michelle sneered. Well, don't you see how big your belly is? Chloe's mouth fell open in alarm, and she looked down. Realizing her fake belly was gone, her eyes darted wildly around the room, her face turning ashen. Michelle crossed her arms and spoke with a piercing tone. My word, such a pretty girl resorting to fraud? Not only are you a homewrecker, but you can't even maintain some dignity, stooping to deceit? Aren't you utterly ashamed? Chloe's face, by this point, was beet red like a ripe tomato, but she stubbornly maintained a defiant expression. Who do you think you are to speak to me like that? David and I genuinely love each other. Sarah erupted in fury, lunging forward and slapping Chloe twice, hard enough to make her see stars. Genuinely in love, my ass. You claim to love someone while trying to deceive their entire family? You think you're so smart, huh? Today, I'll teach you a lesson about karma. Chloe clutched her face, sobbing hysterically, then bolted towards the gate. Mrs. Carroll stood at the doorway, hands on hips, yelling after her. If you ever pull a pathetic stunt like this again, don't blame this old woman for throwing you straight out onto the street. You hear me, girl? The clatter of Chloe's slippers gradually receded. Mrs. Carroll then picked up Chloe's fake silicone belly and hurled it after her. Take your cursed garbage with you. What do you mean leaving it here? Chloe hastily got into her car and sped away. That afternoon, David had barely parked his motorcycle outside the gate and hadn't even had a chance to inquire about anything when Mrs. Carroll burst out of the house like a whirlwind. She seized David's arm, practically dragging him into the living room. Get in here right now for your mother. David was taken aback. What's going on, Mom? Mrs. Carroll slammed the door shut with a loud thud, her hands on her hips, her eyes blazing with indignation. You dare to ask? Why did you let that girl come all the way to our house and put on such a show, pretending to be pregnant? Are you trying to kill your mother with shame, David? Mom, what are you saying? Chloe came all the way here? Chloe actually came here? Actually came here, my foot. She stood right in the middle of our living room, parading around, showing off that fake belly. If I hadn't called Sarah down, she probably would have successfully scammed us. What? A fake belly? Yes, fake. She was wearing a silicone prosthetic belly. It fell with a thud right in the middle of the house. Sarah picked it up and tossed it away. I'm so mortified I want to disappear into the ground in front of our neighbors. This is all you're doing, son. David's mouth hung open, his face as pale as a banana leaf, as he stammered. I truly didn't know she would do something like that, Mom. I already ended things. Ended what? Ended it so that girl actually thought she'd be promoted to your secondary wife? She yelled at David until his hair stood on end, and he broke out in a cold sweat, his hands clasped together like a schoolboy caught misbehaving. From now on, she is banned from this house. No more contact with her. If I ever see her shadow near our house again, I'll take a broom and chase you out onto the street myself, understand? Yes, Mom, I understand, I apologize. You understand, yet you're so foolish. You have a decent wife and children, but you choose to chase after that kind of sly, conniving woman. A foolish man, son, will only end up utterly disgraced. Upstairs, Michelle pulled Sarah into a private room, closed the door, and laughed so hard she had to clutch her stomach. Oh, Sarah, I'm telling you, seeing that fake belly fall off and her face looking utterly stunned, like a bewildered ox. If you had witnessed it, you would have been roaring with laughter. Sarah covered her mouth. And I thought you were exaggerating, sis. So, she really pulled that trick? 100%. Watching her strut around with that belly was just too absurd. It still makes my stomach churn just thinking about it. Ugh. This girl is truly beyond redemption. Michelle then sobered up and changed her tone. But don't you dare be complacent. This girl is not to be trifled with. She's thick-skinned and cunning. If she can't get what she wants through emotional manipulation, she'll resort to dirty tricks. You need to keep a very close watch on David. Things aren't completely severed yet. Sarah nodded. Yes, I'll definitely keep a closer eye on him. And remember what else I advised you? What was that, sis? Save money. Every time he gives you a salary or bonus, stash it away for yourself. Buy gold, open a savings account. Don't be foolish and let him control all of it. Trust men, but only to a certain extent. You need to have a fallback plan, dear. Sarah sighed. But I'm worried Mom will think I'm being calculating. Michelle scoffed. Don't worry, after this whole debacle, your mother-in-law will be the very first person to tell you to squirrel money away. True to Michelle's prediction, that evening after dinner, Mrs. Carroll spoke calmly and deliberately. Sarah, I think from now on, when David gives you a salary, you should put it away in a safe, discreet place. Buy gold and save it. Don't squander it on unnecessary things. I'm old now, and I've witnessed too much. Men may have sweet tongues, but they often have the hearts of wolves, my dear. Sarah's eyes widened. Are you truly serious, Mom? Absolutely. I'm old, and I'm no longer naive. Just save it diligently, for your own security. If your husband remains faithful, it's a blessing, but if he strays, you'll still have something to raise your children with. Remember my words. Sarah nodded repeatedly, profoundly moved. David, seated beside them, merely kept his head down, focused on his meal, not daring to utter a single sound. A few days later, Sarah arranged to speak with David after dinner. She sat composed, her voice calm but remarkably firm. Honey, I'm asking you truthfully. Do you still wish to remain with your wife and children, or do you want to pursue that other girl? David bowed his head, muttering almost inaudibly. I was wrong. I see now how incredibly foolish I've been. Please forgive me. Give me an opportunity to make amends. Sarah nodded.
All right.
Then, from this day forward, you will sign a commitment for me. Your salary will be transferred directly into our joint account. You will not keep any separate funds. Each month, I will manage the ledger, and all expenses will be transparent. And what else, dear? And you must go meet Chloe yourself and make it unequivocally clear that it's over. I don't need you to return to me discreetly. I need Chloe to know that my husband chose to come back on his own, not because he was coerced. David swallowed hard and nodded. Yes, I'll go tomorrow. Sarah stood up, resolute. No, tonight. Michelle will accompany you to record a video as evidence. No backing out. David broke out in a sweat, but dared not argue. He knew that if he didn't see this through to the end now, there would be no turning back. The cafe was quiet. Chloe waited, as coquettish as ever, in a tight mini-skirt, bright red lipstick, her eyes sparkling. When David arrived, Chloe sprang up, exclaiming, Honey, I thought you wouldn't dare to meet me again. David stood firm, remaining standing, his voice unwavering. Chloe, I came here today to tell you something. Chloe froze. You're telling me?
What?
I made a mistake getting involved with you, but I've woken up. I have a wife and children. I cannot lose my family over a moment of foolishness. So, she's forcing you to leave me? No, I made this decision myself. I choose my family. Chloe scoffed, a cynical laugh escaping her lips. What kind of man is so terrified of his wife, like a dog fearing the whip? A pathetic, spineless coward. If you can't live with backbone, Then just die to spare yourself the shame. David offered no reply. Michelle, the sister-in-law, stepped out from a corner of the cafe, phone in hand, recording, and spoke with clear articulation. Let me give you one final piece of advice. A woman with no sense of decency will forever be nothing more than a mistress. Sarah is a wife, a mother to his children. What are you? A blemish, which I've just recorded right here for you to ponder. Chloe's face turned purple, and she sprang to her feet, screaming, "You venomous woman! And you, David, you will regret this." David remained calm. "I already regret it, and I will never repeat it. Go home, Chloe. Everything is over." Chloe stormed out of the cafe, her high heels clacking, her tears merging with the falling rain. Michelle cast a chilling smile at David. "Good. From this day forward, live a decent life. Your wife isn't as naive as you seem to think." That evening, David handed over all his bank cards to Sarah and personally signed the written commitment. Sarah gazed at her husband. Her heart still bore the pain, but her eyes conveyed unwavering resolve. Mrs. Carroll, seated nearby, clicking her prayer beads, quietly remarked, "A good daughter-in-law, a capable wife. She appears gentle, but beneath that, she has real strength." Michelle, sitting beside her, smiled. "See, Mom? If a wife is too gentle, her husband will take advantage, but if she knows when to assert herself, it will make him fear losing her." Sarah said nothing, simply held her child close, and smiled gently. She mused to herself, women don't need to be aggressive, nor do they need to make blind sacrifices. They simply need to know when to release and when to hold on, and then no one will ever dare to disrespect them. And after weathering those storms, I now find myself unburdened, dear everyone. Each day, my husband returns from work and immediately cooks dinner and bathes the children. He also regularly helps me clean the house. Furthermore, I have an understanding mother-in-law and a laid-back sister-in-law, so the atmosphere in our home is always joyful. Is there anyone else like me? My husband had a mistress, yet I never even had the opportunity to confront her myself. Everyone, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, took care of all the confronting already. Since that regrettable mistake, my husband has completely transformed. He has become the family's homemaker, taking on all the household chores to assist his wife, which means I no longer feel exhausted. Happiness, dear friends, can only be sustained when both husband and wife strive for it together. If one builds while the other destroys, the outcome will inevitably be nothing, won't it? Dear readers, this short story concludes here.